In this video, you will be shown the outpatient waiting list management. As part of this video, we will show you how to add the patient to the waiting list for a follow-up appointment, how to update request comments from awaiting results to ready to book, how to schedule a request from the to be scheduled list, and how to cancel a request from the to be scheduled list. To begin this process, you will need scheduling appointment book, and you will need to navigate into the appointment inquiry, which I have already got open. And when you go into the to be scheduled list, you will need to drop this down to ensure the inquiry is selected to be scheduled. And from the request list queues, you will select the required speciality that you are booking your appointments for. For training purposes, I am using cardiology. Press the find in the bottom left corner of your screen, and this will then load up with all of the patients awaiting an appointment. Now, the first part of this process is adding the patient to the waiting list. It is up to the clinician to do this particular step. So what will happen is when a patient is seen in outpatients and they are sat with the clinician, at the point where the clinician decides that the patient requires a follow-up appointment, it will be up to the clinician to place an order for this request. To do this, they will be in the patient's medical record and they will find the applicable clinic that the patient needs to come back for. Now, a few examples of this we can see within the appointment type column. So a few of these patients, the clinician has requested a cardiology syncope follow-up. Then a few of these patients at the bottom here, we can see it is just a general cardiology follow-up that the clinician has requested. As soon as the clinician places this request, the patient will immediately appear on this waiting list. The second part of this process is in regards to the comments column that I'm hovering over now. So as you can see, we have two patients here. One of the patients is awaiting results. Now, when a patient is awaiting results, this means that we are not able to schedule this appointment at present because the results are not back for this patient. Now, what we do need to ensure is that as soon as the results are back, these comments are updated, as we can see with this patient here, so that the booking clerks are aware that this patient is ready to be booked. This is so that we don't have any wasted capacity, i.e. we don't have any wasted appointments where we don't have the results ready. Now, in the case of this patient, we have Susan, who is still waiting for the results. Now, in the example, as I've just mentioned, where the results are back, in order to have these comments updated, we will need to go into the patient's medical record. Now, there is one of two ways of doing this. You can either go into the matrix screen, which will allow you to navigate into PowerChart manually. Alternatively, is if you are working from the waiting list, by highlighting the patient as I have done here, we do have an icon which has the letter P, and this will launch PowerChart. But by highlighting the patient before I do this, as soon as I select the PowerChart, it will automatically open the correct patient. And at this point, you will just need to verify using the NHS hospital number, demographic information, and verify you definitely have the correct patient open. If you aren't working from scheduling appointment book for this particular section, then you will just simply navigate into PowerChart manually from this application icon here. And once loaded into PowerChart, you will come to the magnifying glass and search for the patient applicable. Now, once you do have the patient's record open, you will need to navigate into the requests or care plans. and finding the appointment order within the order profile. As we can see here, I would right click and modify this order. And if I come into the order comments here, I will now see the comments for awaiting results, which I will update these to say that the results are back, ready to book. So now this will update on the waiting list as soon as I sign this off in the bottom right hand corner, that the booking clerks are okay to proceed. And as you can see here, it is just processing this order, so I am just going to refresh my screen. So I'm just going to come back into my waiting list now. The system does not automatically refresh, so I am just going to press the find button once again, which will pull that update through into the waiting list. So that is the process on how to update the request comments. Now, in order to schedule a request from the waiting list, I would simply right click onto the waiting list and drop down to the schedule option. This will automatically navigate me into the appointment booking screen. At this stage, I would be able to use either the calendar to select which particular date I wish to book the appointment for. So if I needed this in 2 weeks' time, I could change this using the calendar. Alternatively, you can use the suggest option, which we do go through all of the variations of this in a separate video titled Clinic Capacity. At this point, once you have selected the required appointments, I'm going to scroll down to see if there is any blue slots. So the yellow slots are the new slots, blue slots are the follow-up slots. So I can see some here. So I'm going to schedule the patient in for 2:50. Once I've highlighted the appointment slot that I wish the patient to attend, at this point you could contact the patient to confirm if they wish to take that slot. But I'm going to come up to the schedule. It will confirm the slot that I've selected and the duration of this slot. Pressing OK. Now at this stage, the system may potentially warn you. These warnings are important to read through them to make sure that you are not about to override something that is potentially going to cause issues for the patient. Now in this case, it is warning me to say that this patient should have been seen back in November last year. Now this could be because of capacity problems, so we may not have had any other option. So in this case, I am going to override this. But if this is a circumstance where it could be November, as you can see, we're just in October at this point. If this is a patient that should have been seen in November this year, then I would be cancelling out of that and ensuring they actually schedule it within the period that the consultant has requested. If we are going to breach the patient for whatever reason, you do need to make sure that you follow your departmental processes in regards to escalating this and following process so that we're not booking the patients into breach wherever we can prevent that. But I am going to schedule this and I am going to override this. Okay, so once you have managed to schedule that particular slot, all this will have done is it will provisionally schedule that. So as you can see by the colour here, this colour represents a provisional booking. So again, if you wanted to contact the patient, you would be able to do so, but this will prevent anybody from taking this slot now. Once you have confirmed the slot with the patient, you can come to the confirm button, selecting confirm. You can then print the letter to the patient, but I am going to select no for training purposes and select OK. And if this was yes, as soon as I select OK, it will then immediately send this letter. Right. The final process within this video is how to cancel a request from the waiting list. This could be instances where the patient may no longer need the follow-up. It could be that we have a duplicated waiting list. But whatever the reason for this need, you would simply find the waiting list that you wish to cancel the request for, right-click, and drop down to cancel request. Do you wish to send a letter? So I'm going to say no for training purposes, but again, following your departmental processes if you're notifying the patient. If it is just a data quality fix, it could just be a duplication, then you may not need to notify the patient of this. But that, as you can see, has now deleted that request from the screen. This will update in the patient's record as well. So if a request has been cancelled, it will show up in the patient's medical record so doctors are aware that that appointment has been cancelled by whoever it is. So this is all of the processes in regards to outpatient waiting list management.